There is a mineral that costs $3 and ends chronic insomnia in 2 weeks. It does not manage it. It does not improve it. It ends it at the molecular level by correcting the exact deficiency the sleep industry depends on you never correcting. A pharmaceutical company identified the same biological mechanism, synthesized a drug around it, and charges $240 a month. The same receptor, the same outcome. One is $3 at any pharmacy on earth. The other requires a lifetime of refills. The sleep industry has spent 40 years making sure you never made that comparison. Karaka, the father of Indian medicine, wrote it down more than 2,000 years ago. Cool mineral water, rich in metals, brings sleep to the restless. Karaka, Samhita 8.34, Himalayan springs, magnesium-laced, prescribed for the mind that will not settle. Not a theory, a protocol. Powdered limestone, dissolved and swallowed before bed, to restore what the body craves. The ancient world knew the taste of sleep. Rome copied it. Celsus, Galen, Pliny, names etched into the medical canon, sent soldiers to the springs after battle. The phrase was doctrine, salus per aquam, health through water. Hot mineral baths at aquae sulphurae, aquae calidae, and bath. Magnesium, calcium, sulfate, these were not luxuries, but frontline medicine. Legionaries drank, bathed, and slept. The Roman military built entire hospitals next to these springs, not for luxury, for recovery, for sleep. The mineral content matched Karaka's formula. The result? Tranquillitatem somni, restorative, dreamless sleep. Fast forward to 1695. Nehemiah Grew, a botanist, publishes a pamphlet in London. Epsom springs, he writes, induce a sweet, steady sleep. No ambiguity. The English countryside becomes a destination for the sleepless. Grew's observations predate chemistry's birth by a century, but the effect is undeniable. In 1808, Sir Humphrey Davy isolates magnesium from Epsom salt. He calls it a new metal, and he speculates on its role in calming the nervous system. The Royal Society archives the letter. The element is named. The sedative effect now with a chemical fingerprint. Magnesium has a name and a mechanism. Centuries pass. In 1988, U.S. military researchers flagged magnesium deficiency in soldiers. Elevated stress hormones, broken sleep. The connection is not new, it is rediscovered. In 2018, the journal Open Heart calls subclinical magnesium deficiency a public health crisis, linking it to sleeplessness and chronic disease. Deficiency is a recurring theme. 6 milestones, 6 eras, 1 mineral. The evidence is not scattered. It is a straight line from ancient text, Roman doctrine, Enlightenment science, modern biochemistry, military medicine, and public health. The trail is unbroken. Magnesium is not an alternative. It is the original. The fact is plain. For 2,000 years, the world has known how to end insomnia at its source. The only thing that has changed is who profits from forgetting. The numbers do not lie. Less than 1/3 of 1% of your body's magnesium ever shows up in a standard blood test. That's not a rounding error. That's a locked vault. The rest, over 99%, is stored where it actually matters, inside your cells, in your muscles, your bones, your brain. But the test your doctor orders measures the leftover scraps floating in your serum. This is not a glitch. This is the design. Dr. Mildred Seelig spent 40 years hammering at this wall. From 1964 to 2003, she published paper after paper that showed serum magnesium is a false comfort. The real deficiency, the kind that drives insomnia, anxiety, arrhythmia, hides in tissue. Seelig's findings are not buried in some fringe journal. They are cited in physiology textbooks, echoed in reviews from DeBige and colleagues, and in the 2018 Open Heart editorial that called subclinical magnesium deficiency a public health crisis. Yet the system keeps using the same outdated test. Why? Because a normal serum result means no action, no prescription, no change. Keep the pipeline running. Alternative tests exist. Red blood cell magnesium, magnesium loading protocols, but they are rarely offered. They cost more. They disrupt the flow. If you rely on serum alone, you miss the silent epidemic. The Montana teacher who spent 11 years taking Ambien had a serum magnesium result that read normal. Only when she started supplementing did the insomnia vanish. This is not just a clinical oversight. It is the firewall that protects a $91 billion sleep aid market. The industry's best-kept secret is not a new drug. It is the mineral they refuse to measure. The next vault opens soon. Isfahan, Iran, 46 patients. 8 weeks. The numbers are not subtle. A double-blind trial, magnesium oxide, 500 milligrams daily versus placebo. The outcome, sleep time up by 22 minutes. Insomnia scores slashed by nearly 5 points. Objective, measured, undeniable, Cortisol dropped. Melatonin rose. P-values 0.002, 0.006, 0.007. Statistical daylight, not a shadowy maybe. The investigators published every detail. Not a supplement website, but Isfahan University of Medical Sciences. Peer-reviewed, indexed, cited. The effect? Not just a little better. For some, insomnia ended. Gone. A decade later, the Montana teacher, 11 years on Ambien, normal serum magnesium, still sleepless, switched to magnesium glycinate. Within 8 nights, sleep returned. After 6 weeks, Ambien was over. The story is not rare. It is repeated in clinics, forums, and pilot studies from Texas to Tokyo. Each time, the same pattern: prescription drugs numb the brain, magnesium restores its rhythm. Now, the market backdrop, $91 billion. That's the global sleep aid industry. Zolpidem, Balsamra, Rosram, names that echo through every pharmacy. Each drug, a downstream imitation. Each prescription, a bill for what magnesium does for pennies. Ambien, $240 a month. Balsamra, $350 a month. A 60-day supply of magnesium glycinate, $8. The numbers are not close. The industry depends on missing the deficiency. It depends on the locked vault of tissue magnesium, the serum test that tells you nothing, the endless cycle of diagnosis and refill. The next vault opens soon. 3 locks, 3 keys. Magnesium doesn't just patch the symptoms. It ends insomnia by restoring the natural breaks and balances that prescription drugs can only imitate at 100 times the price. First lock, the NMDA receptor. This is the master switch for brain arousal. At rest, magnesium sits inside the NMDA channel, blocking the flood of glutamate and stopping the midnight mind race before it starts. Deficiency pulls that plug. The result? Neurons fire unchecked. Thoughts spiral. Sleep shatters. Every prescription drug for overactivity, Zolpidem, Zolpiclone, and Suvorexant, chases this single channel. Magnesium was there first. No patent, no profit. Second lock, GABA A, the brain's off switch. Prescription hypnotics, Ambien and Balsamra, bind to the GABA A receptor, forcing it open and sedating the mind by brute force. Magnesium works with the body, not against it. It binds allosterically, amplifying the effect of natural GABA, smoothing the transition to sleep without hangover, memory loss, or dependence. The Montana teacher, 11 years on Ambien, sleepless and desperate, found sleep returned only when magnesium replaced the drug. The receptor did not care about the brand. It cared about the mineral deficit. Third lock, melatonin, the hormone that signals night. Magnesium is the silent cofactor for AANAT, the enzyme that turns serotonin into melatonin in the pineal gland. Without enough magnesium, the nightly rise in melatonin is blunted. Clinical trials prove it. Supplement magnesium, melatonin goes up, cortisol goes down, sleep returns. In rats, magnesium deficiency fragments sleep, raises stress hormones, and destroys circadian rhythm. Restore magnesium, and the cycle repairs itself. 3 convergent actions. 1 mineral, the body's original sleep formula, unlocked for pennies, ignored for profit. The vault is open. The next question, why does the system keep it locked? Magnesium cannot be patented. That is the entire story in one line. No patent, no billion-dollar windfall, no incentive for clinical trials, no glossy ads, no blockbuster launch. The sleep aid aisle is ruled by drugs with a price tag and a legal monopoly. Balsamra, $350 a month for an orexin antagonist. Rosram, $150 for a melatonin mimic. Ambien, $240 plus a black box FD, a warning for sleep driving and next day impairment. These drugs do not fix the root cause. They hijack the same receptors magnesium controls naturally. The difference, magnesium costs $8 for 2 months. The industry cannot profit from a mineral you can buy for pennies, so they bury it. They fund studies on patentable molecules, they push guidelines that exclude magnesium, they keep the test that misses the deficiency. The result? A $91 billion market built on ignoring the original solution. The vault stays locked. The next protocol, the one that ends insomnia at its source, costs less than a cup of coffee. But you will not find it in the pharmacy's script pad. Not while profit writes the rules. Here is the blueprint. The sleep industry does not want you to follow. Magnesium glycinate, pure and chelated, is the form with real bioavailability. Not magnesium oxide, not magnesium citrate. Glycinate. Start with 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Take it with water. Keep it away from calcium. No dairy, no calcium pills, no multivitamins within 2 hours. Calcium blocks the transporter. Magnesium needs a clear lane. Track your sleep on nights 7, 10, and 14. Write it down. How fast did you fall asleep? How many times did you wake up? How do you feel in the morning? This is not a forever protocol. In a veteran-run sleep clinic, patients taper off hypnotics in weeks, not years. The Montana teacher, 11 years chained to Ambien, slept through the night in 8 days. 6 weeks later, no prescription, no withdrawal, no relapse. That is the checklist. That is the vault key. This isn't sleep management, it's sleep restoration. One mineral, one root cause. A $3 magnesium supplement corrects the deficiency that Ambien, Rosarim, and Belsomra only mimic at a markup. Serum tests miss it, and guidelines ignore it. Economics, not evidence, built that silence. The next vault opens soon. Subscribe for the knowledge they hide.